Hi everyone, it's Aisha here. This is my first live where I'm interviewing someone, Lisa Smith, who is a good friend of mine, and I'm just gonna ask her about her journey of becoming a coach and discuss the topic of mindfulness. So I'm gonna go ahead and send her an invite. Hi Lisa,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you. I love your shirt and your background. It's so nice.
Thank you. I love yours too. It's so beautiful with all the plants.
Thanks. I love plants. Anything to do with nature and outside. That's where I'll be.
Yes, I enjoy looking at the plants outside, but I don't have a green thumb, so yeah, it's best that the plants stay away from me.
Like you'll start green out there, but you'll get brown if you stay in here.
Yeah. So I'd rather they just stay alive and green and well away from me.
And that's okay. Just send them over here. There's plenty of space. I'm sure I'll make some space.
I should, and then you can take care of it for me.
It's so funny because everyone who comes to my house like, oh, I love your plants. You have such a green thumb. I'm like, actually, it's my family that has the
Oh,
green thumb and taught me everything that I know. So have to give them credit where credit is due.
wow. That's nice that they taught you though.
Yeah, I love it. So grateful for it. But let's dive in, Lisa. So how are you? Can you introduce yourself to our viewers here and talk a little bit about your journey of becoming a life coach? And also, sorry, I forgot to say how we met. I met Lisa through our coaching community, and we had a few conversations, and just became friends through then. I really appreciate Lisa. She is whenever I mention on any podcast or live call my peer and friend who pushes me when I need to be pushed in the most like warm and respectful but yet like clear way. This is what I'm talking about, guys. It's Lisa. So finally there's a name to the face. So go ahead, Lisa, just introduce yourself and thank you so much for being here today.
Well, wow, Asia, what an intro. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here in this space with you. I always love talking to you. Our conversations go on for about 2 hours, sometimes even longer. We just really get into it. So always love conversating with you. I am a personal development coach and now a business building mentor. So throughout my journey of being in business for so long, I decided to move that over into mentoring. And then through life experiences and such, I've taken that into life coaching. So,
Great. And Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about your previous role and how it's different from life coaching and like what you do with your clients today?
from my experience in So I've been in the beauty industry actually for going on 16 years, and I've learned a lot on how to work with different types of people and having to flex to their needs on a whim. And I also have a team too, as well. And so it's taught me leadership skills, and I also work underneath a team. So I learn from my leaders that are above me. And it's really been a great journey in learning different communication styles, how people are so different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how not one person is really the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think this has been a huge skill that I've taken into coaching with me on recognizing that we aren't all the same. And it's really about allowing someone to speak and be seen and feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Wow, that's so valuable what you said. You threw out like a few gems just now. I always have trouble picking just one to follow up on. But one thing that you mentioned is being mindful of people's differences.
Hmm.
What would you say to someone navigating that and just learning how to appreciate their unique skill set in the environment that they're in.
Yeah, and I'm sure you probably recognize some of this, but I think it is really important for someone to be able to be seen and heard for who they are and recognized for them, right? There's a lot to say about not wanting to change people, but
Mm,
allowing a person to be who they are, right?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's something to that in coming from a humble space of recognizing that each person brings their own unique set of value and skills. And it's not about outshining somebody and saying like, hey, my way is right, because you could be missing out on an opportunity to really learn about that person and see why they're saying what they're saying, where their experience is coming from, and how it can be used to help in that scenario.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. And it's really an important and key piece, I think, in coaching,
Mm,
you know.
sorry. But so speaking of coaching, what are your either your niche population or like your favorite population to work with?
I really enjoy working with clients who are ready to take the next step in their journey. The clients that are really ready to go and move.
Mm.
Yes.
What does that look like? Like, what would that look like if you're meeting with people and let's say someone is saying, "Hey, I want to change, and some like an area that I really want to get better in is my physical health." And they're saying, "I want to go to the gym, but I just don't feel like I have time." Like, where would you say in terms of stages of readiness and preparedness, where would you say that that person is at?
I think that everyone comes with some sort of blockage,
Mm,
right? I don't think that anyone really comes perfectly prepared and ready and I'm going to make this change. Right. Well, they will make a change, but there's always a blockage. If we're talking strictly on physical fitness and how to incorporate that into your life, I would actually ask the question about schedule. So, what does your schedule look like? What does your time look like? What does your energy look like?
mm.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned energy. And when you're assessing what barriers, what mental barriers that clients come with, what are some examples of a mental barrier to an area in their life that they want to improve in?
I think that we come with a misconception sometimes that we don't have time.
Mm,
Yes. And there's this thing that I like to reference. I actually learned this from Mel Robbins because she does talk about busy versus busyness, right? And there's always a gap somewhere that you can find time for giving back to yourself. But I do like to speak about the energy portion because if you've worked a really long day, just the thought of coming home, switching your clothes, getting into workout gear, going back out again, and going to the gym can sometimes feel a little bit daunting.
mm. Even as you were describing, I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to get in my PJs and turn on my show, have some hot chocolate, like eat some.
Right? And if I say, hey, you know what? You can go at 7:30 p.m. You can do it. You can go at 7:30 and go to the gym. What's stopping you? You're going to say, "Oh my God, what is this person trying to do to me?" So I do think that energy does play into it, right? It's also about reassessing and revamping a schedule too, you know. And to it's funny because people's energy actually can be at very different times depending on work schedules or family schedules. And so, my energy is between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning.
Mm,
Now, when I tell people this, they're like, "You're crazy. I'm not doing that." Right? Yeah. And, but maybe their energy is 7 o'clock in the morning,
Mm,
and maybe they have a half an hour where they can go for a run,
mm,
or maybe they have 15 minutes to go for a walk,
mm.
you know.
That's really interesting. So, balancing out energy and time within your schedule, what would you recommend to someone who maybe isn't aware of, well, I don't know when my high energy or low energy is during the day? Like, how do I even start to recognize that? What would you recommend to someone to start bringing self awareness to themselves so they can then apply that to improving?
I think breaking it down little by little, there's always a pattern somewhere. I really believe this when you start breaking things down. And to be honest, I will break things down to the 15 minutes if I have to. So I look at something on a 24-hour schedule with a client, and I'll start breaking it down in segments.
Mm,
And the chances of a client finding where their energy levels lay due to patterns that happen throughout the day is actually, it's actually amazing to see it happen. It's sometimes it's funny, you know, you'll start laughing about it and you're like, "Oh my God, I didn't even realize that I was doing the same thing every single day." But there usually is a pattern.
hmm.
Yeah.
That's so valuable that you bring that up about patterns and that like the behaviors that we engage in every day. Like there is some sort of pattern to it. I know I've spoken with clients and I tried to ask them like, okay, what's your schedule? What does a morning look like? What does a day, a week look like? And I've had several people say, I don't know. It's all over the place. I don't, it's different every day. And I'm like, okay, what's one thing that's the same every day? And they'll say like, well, I get up around like 7:30 every day. Like, okay, that's a pattern. That's somewhere where we can start. You know, and what is typically the first thing you do? Well, I get up and brush my teeth, wash my face. All right,
Mm.
three things now every day. Like so far, we're identifying some areas of consistency in your day and your schedule, and that's a place to start.
Now, would you say if a client came to you and said, "I'm all over the map and I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you then go the opposite route? Because, you know, if a client's all over the map, then it's hard to break down by 15 minutes. But then would you look at leveling out their schedule, helping them level out their schedule, or help them construct a stable schedule?
I'm trying to think about in the past when this has come up with clients, and it's different for each client, I will say, because when trying to apply the same method, it didn't work out the same because people's lives look very different. So something that I would try and work through with a client as far as navigating a schedule for someone who's maybe a single person, that would look very different than a mom of three.
Yes.
So I might not recommend like the same approach, and I would do more exploring of maybe pockets in their day versus someone who has like, hey, I have so much free time, but I need more structure because it's actually working against me. All right, we have more room to work with as far as time versus the mom saying, look, I don't have any time, nothing, no time, like every minute is booked. So in that sense, then it might be more so creating time than like leveling out the schedule.
Okay. I am so happy to hear you say this. And this goes back to the beginning when we first started talking about how not everybody is the
Mm-hmm.
same and it's not a linear
Right.
process. And it's really important to recognize where a person's at in their life.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy for people to say, right? Oh, you know, you can do it if you want to do it. You this, and this, right? And they make it sound like it's very easy. But as a mom with three kids, now my kids are adults, but when they were small, it was like go town, left, right, center, up, down, in circles, upside down. And I myself couldn't fathom the thought of trying to fit something in with energy.
Mm. That's so important. It's so important to recognize the difference between time versus energy because we sometimes we can't find ourselves having time. But if you've been going nonstop for a week, 2 weeks, that perceived time, it doesn't really mean the same if you can't devote your energy. I was listening to Brendan Burchard. Can't remember
Mm.
the book. I can't remember. But when I was listening to him, he was talking about how there was a study with two people, and the one person he had let's say a 12-hour day, and he went from beginning to end without any breaks, like no time, no rest time, and by the end he was exhausted, like completely depleted. And there was another person where he went for a certain amount of hours in his day and got to a point where he knew he had X amount of hours left, but instead of continuing to go nonstop, he took about 30 minutes and just rested. Not necessarily
Mm.
in that, but just rested, didn't look at anything, didn't listen to anything or talk to anyone, just sat or laid back and just allowed his mind and body to rest. And when he continued on with his day, he noticed that he had more energy at the end of the day. And I feel like that's really significant because when I hear people say, "Well, I don't have the time or it's really hard," I would encourage people to look at that and realize that we can conserve our energy and it can it can reveal itself at other parts in our day where it would serve us better, because then maybe by the end of the day that person now has the energy to give to their family, whereas the other person might be like, just leave me alone, I need to go to sleep. And that can affect us in our relationships later on.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think, and that comes into that mindfulness portion, right? Being present in silence, sitting with yourself. I think it's really, really important because that whole thing of working for 12 hours straight, and I mean, as you were saying it, I started to sweat.
Like,
Just the thought of that. You know, I was reading that piece about the CEO or whoever started Netflix, and I forget his name, and
mm-hmm.
how he did a date night with his wife every Tuesday, and he wouldn't compromise on
Mm-hmm.
it. So whatever had to be done by 5 p.m. because he would not compromise that date night.
Yeah,
I'm like, for these people that run these big companies and things like that, if they can do things like this and take time off and all,
right.
like, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Like, and that's what's called like a non-negotiable. So I think I'm not sure if it was Brendan Burchard again. No, it wasn't. It was Atomic Habits. James Clear, if I'm not mistaken. In his book Atomic Habits, he talks about having non-negotiables, and that's an example of that, where no matter what, no business call, nothing is, I have to take this call. Nope, it has to be done by a certain time. And having that discipline, like, yes, it doesn't happen overnight, but the way we get to that point is by little increments, like taking an opportunity where something might seem simple, like, oh, I'll just take this call. No, make it very clear to everyone that you work with, I'm unavailable after this time or from this time to this time.
Yeah.
And make that commitment to ourselves. Like, we really start to show up in our lives differently.
I agree with you. I built this worksheet that I share with my clients when needed, and it's building out your pillars. I call them pillars, and this is your non-negotiables. And I really encourage clients to pick 2 to 3 things that they will not compromise on
Mm,
and build around these pillars. So, for example, right, if your relationship and fitness and what else, work, are your 3 non-negotiables. Anything that comes outside of that is secondary.
mm. Absolutely. And I feel like that brings awareness to your core values in your
Mhm.
life and helps you to live more intentionally when you're placing emphasis and importance on like these things are first here. They are the most important. I love that you do that. Science. You're so smart. This is why I gush about you. This is why
No, I think, you take your personal experiences too, and then you apply that. But I think, one thing that is coming up for me is I won't compromise not eating dinner with my son.
mm,
My two older ones don't live with me, otherwise, I'd include them right now. But my younger one does. And we eat dinner together every single night for 1 hour. We're obsessed with Shark Tank. So we watch Shark Tank while we're eating and we talk about what's happening in Shark. We're calculating numbers and things like that. But that's something I won't compromise on.
I love that. I love that, and it's so important. And I know people might be thinking like it's a small thing. It's really not. It's really not. Like my sister, she has a 5 year old. My 5 year old nephew, he just turned 5. He's so cute.
Oh,
But she has this thing where she does a 10-minute miracle, and
mm.
whether it's 20 minutes or 5 minutes, it's more like you were saying earlier, the energy, and she commits to that time every day. Typically, it's at night before he goes to sleep, but it's every day. And you'll hear him say around like evening routine, like, okay, mommy, like, are we gonna do, mommy and, his name time? And it's just so cute because then he comes to expect it. And now it's a part of his routine, a part of his norm. And during that time, she's 100% present, not talking to me or anybody else that might be there, or like not taking phone calls, not on her phone, not cleaning, nothing. Just he gets her full energy. And that I'm just like, I'm an emotional person, so I try not to cry. But like, I
Well,
just
don't
love
make me cry too.
because it's just so important. And I think like people realize like how valuable that is. And it really does go a long way. It truly does.
Yeah. And Asia, my heart now. That's so sweet. No, because in thinking about it, you're setting up this really beautiful habit that you hope that your kids will take into their own relationships, right? Or when they become parents too, about spending that quality time with your kids. And, as your kids do get older, you know, right? You're a kid. I'm someone's kid. And right? But as you become an adult, you tend to do your own thing now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that time gets a little bit less and less sometimes. However, when you do build these nice habits, then the kids do remember it, and it does go into when they have their own kids. And like my youngest, he actually just turned 21.
Oh,
Yeah, yesterday. And for him to still eat dinner with his mom and sit with me on the couch and at 21, right? I take really great pride in that, you know, because
absolutely, you should. That's amazing, and that's like a true testament to you as a parent. Like the energy that you gave and the relationship that you built, the bond. Like, not gonna cry. I'm not gonna do it. But like, I just think about like me and my dad. I refuse. But like, I think
yeah.
like me and my dad, and it's so funny because he'll talk about how um, like mine and his relationship is different than like mine and my sister's. I mean, my sister are my other sister. We're 16 years apart, and
Wow.
yeah, it's a big age gap. He started over, but like it's funny because he'll worry. He's like, yeah, I don't know if we're spending as much time together. He's like, with you, we did everything together. We went to karate together. We read books every night. Just so many things that me and my dad did. He's like, see, with you, I gave like my time, but with her, it's different because I'm working more. And but the thing is, like, which I would just like remind like parents like what kids will remember, and also I see like my little sister like remembering now the things that she brings up is the moments with him. He does this thing, I don't know, the claw or something, and like when he goes and just like I don't, I'm making it look really weird, but it's like really funny, and it's like their thing, their bonding thing. But that's the things that she brings up. She brings up their inside jokes, like all of the moments of energy, like
Mm,
where they're being fully mindful of each other. And I just try to remind him of that. Like, no, it's happening. It's like you're doing a great job.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm noticing a comment from Ben, who we absolutely love. I think
Love that.
it's, I know, President Ben. I try to manifest it. I think it's so important that new business owners realize that they need to renegotiate their contracts they have with people who were a part of their life before they became a business owner.
Wow, that's so insightful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. I'm gonna read it again. You know what? That's so like I thank you, Ben. I really
Thank you, Ben.
him, Ben, for saying that because well, actually, hold on. I see a little one thingy here. Oh no, you already joined. Okay, I'm good. Um, I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Andrew Schultz, who's a comedian, for those of you who don't know, and
Hmm.
Lou House. And this speaks to Ben's comment where he said something like, really appreciate those in your corner who helped you achieve your dream, because while you were working hard, focused, achieving your dream, they were there supporting you, doing like whatever it took, giving you their energy, their time, even just listening to you, listening to your ideas, helping you like flesh them out. And he said always, like going back to Ben's comment, always take moments to go and spend time with them and specifically say, I'm grateful to you for this. And I just feel like that's just so like like heartwarming
Yeah.
and important, because as I think about that, thinking about like everyone who supported me and people that I support, and they come back and you kind of like forget, and like I'm like, oh, like you remember? Like, yeah, I remember, of course. And I'm like telling you, like, I'm very grateful. So it really does go a long way.
It's funny when now that this has come up in our conversation, I find that every level up that happens, the circle gets smaller
Mm-hmm.
and your relationships become more refined. I know where I'm sitting myself, where I'm sitting today, my circle is extremely small. And the circle that I have, I can call at any time, whether
Mm-hmm.
I'm having an emotional breakdown, a mental breakdown, whether I just want to talk, whether I want to hang out. And that specific circle is the circle that I'm going to always remember as I go forward in my journey. Because a lot of people fall off,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, like they say, some people are meant to be with you for a lifetime, some people are meant to be lessons, some people, and I think the ones that don't stick with you, right? They don't really need to be a part of your journey, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Also, I think that that makes room for the people that should be there,
Yeah.
that are pouring life into you. Like if you maintain that mindset around it, you're actually looking at it like, well, the people that I already have, like it's I'm already living in full abundance because I'm in 100% energy with them, and it's reciprocal. And like you said, those that no matter how much time has passed, you can come in just as you are. You don't have to be anyone or anything else. That's that was truly humbling for me to realize when um like because sometimes you're on your path for so long and your nose is just down and you're really focused, and you don't look up until years later sometimes, and you're thinking, where did the time go? And you go back to, you don't want anyone to think that they forgot about you. And in my experience, everyone had been watching you the whole time. Everyone had been following up. It's like, no, yeah, I know what you're doing, where you're at. And like, and it, but it was so, everyone was very accepting no matter how much time it had been. And like, I would say for like for people to take away from that, like Lisa's saying, you have your core people. Like me,
Mhm.
like I use the metaphor of the tree. There's people who are leaves. They're more like fleeting. They're there, and then they go. Branches, they're there a little longer, and then there's your roots. Your roots are always going
Mhm.
to be foundation. So that's where you can always go back to.
I love that. I always love references back to trees and the roots. It's always comes back to the root.
My sister sister will joke around and she'll like say it like jokingly, but like half emotion. She's like, "You're my root." And I'm just like, "Aw, like you're my root too." But
I really appreciate the people in my life though that stick it out,
mhm,
that stick it out along the journey as I grow and they grow.
mhm,
Not the ones that come in and out, right? When you talk about the fleeting,
mhm,
yeah,
yeah,
I think of those as exactly like fleeters. Make up a new word. Is there such word as
I like
fleeters?
sleep. I'm gonna go with that one. I think
The
it's just
fleeters. Yeah. But they're not really the ones that I would actually recognize necessarily, right? Is I do think of things as a better or for worse. Like you're not just here for the good times, you're here for the bad times as well,
mhm,
you know?
yes. That's so. I'm so glad that you said that because as you level up in life and have different experiences, it's so funny because it's like when you're younger, before you get to that point, people will tell you, "Oh, be careful, it's going to change you," and not necessarily. Like you're growing, you're evolving, yes, but what you actually learn is that it changes the people around you, and those
Hmm.
that stay true to it doesn't matter like what. Oh, did Ben say something else? Hold on, I'm gonna finish my thought and then read Ben's comment.
Yeah.
Um, but like it's so funny when I hear people like perceive like high status and everything, but they go home and their family treats them the exact same way. They don't care. Not that they're not proud of it, but like I don't care who you are. Clean up your mess. Or like, yeah, we're eating dinner now. Like, don't think because you achieved X, Y, and Z, it's gonna be different here. And so having those people around you, it's very grounding. And I love to surround myself with those people because it doesn't matter where I've been, what I did, I'm still Aisha to them. I might be
That's right.
Aisha grown, evolved in different versions, but at the core, that connection's still there. That love is still there.
Yeah. You need to have the people around you that are still going to give you shit, right?
See, like that's why I appreciate Lisa. That's why I always give you a shout out. Time I'm like, listen, when I and it's always at the right moment too. It's when like I can take it. I'm like, okay, Lisa, just say it, just go. I'm ready. Not ready,
Who
but I'm ready.
you think you are, right? Well, who do you think you are? And then, who do you think you are, right?
So true though. Really good comment. Kevin, being a plant guy, loves using that analogy about the leaves and branches and roots whenever I talk about having to let someone go from my life. Aw,
Mm. Oh, by the way, Kevin's my guy.
Kevin.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, that's Ben's partner. Kevin's my guy. I love Ben, but Kevin's my guy.
I saw Kevin here. Like me and Ben were having a very long conversation, and it came to the point like, okay, I have to get off the phone. And then he showed me Kevin. I was like, I probably should have said, sorry, Kevin. Okay, I'll let you have Ben now. And that was like selfish for a couple hours, but it's okay.
I
But
know we're on this live, and I think I'm like, Kevin should start charging us for his time that he's giving.
and viewing his beautiful plants. I'm like, I love the plants. And it's like, no, it's Kevin. So Kevin, get that credit because those plants are fabulous.
Oh, now I have a vision actually of when Ben's doing these lives and things, and now I picture Kevin in the back pruning.
Stuff that's so funny. Oh my gosh, I love like I go out to like my stepmom's like balcony. I'm always like
Oh,
it's so just like relaxing. Like, oh, why can't I just do that? But 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 at least we're coming not all the way to the end, but thinking about trying to bring it back to mindset. Then we touched
yes.
we touched on so many things, but bringing it back to mindset. Let's say if someone is like struggling to get past a certain hurdle or like they're struggling with limiting beliefs, what would you say to them?
Mm, I'll probably ask you for an example.
Hmm. What's an example? Um, let's say like someone has limiting money beliefs and
Mm.
like okay, I can see me having success. I want it, I'm trying, but when it comes time to actually doing things that would bring them income or maybe like setting a rate, they they shy away from it, or there's pause there. um, like what would you say to them, or like where would they start to start like breaking down those that limited mindset, or just seeing where they're at with it?
Well, it's interesting that you brought up money, and this seems to be coming up around me so much recently. This is now the third conversation I'm having, and I actually really love it. The first question I'd ask is, how bad do you want it?
Mm, wow. Mm.
How bad do you want it?
And how would someone define that? What if they're like, I want it really bad, more than anything?
I truly believe that if a person wants something bad enough, they'll go after it.
It's interesting. And so, those of you who don't know, Lisa has started her life coaching business, and it's like I love her imagery with the caterpillar in the jar. So, can you talk a little bit about that? Um, and also, what did it take for you to get to this point? What was there anything you were struggling with, or maybe like did you struggle with procrastination, or what hurdles along your journey came up that you were able to surpass and really like to work through and shift your mindset, whether it was limiting beliefs, you were in a negative mindset, or there was like intrusive thoughts about like why you wouldn't make it. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and experience with making that shift from being like in a leadership position, a corporate position, to then transitioning to an entrepreneur and owning your own business and helping clients through coaching?
Well, we don't have enough time for the entire story, so I'm going to try to break it down in a very simple way. The logo actually came to me in my sleep. I actually woke up and it just appeared. But the caterpillar represents my 4-year-old self, and, and how I felt for a long period of my life, being very stuck
Mm-hmm.
and trapped, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and probably why I have issues with claustrophobic, you know, areas. But no, but the caterpillar does represent me, and I think it resonates with a lot of people being stuck in their life and feeling like they don't have an option, or feeling like there's no way out, right? And now I can't make someone see that there's a way out. I can't tell you that if I did it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I can only try by sharing my story in hopes that it resonates with somebody. I think throughout all of the trials and tribulations throughout my life, I didn't know at the time because my brain was still developing, right? And it actually happened when I was 31ish. It was in my early 30s where I had the big aha moment. And I thought, holy shit. And yeah, and as I started getting more present with myself and going internally to figure everything out, that's when I was able to rip out the root and realize that all of the things that had happened in my past was actually a good thing, despite what people may think. But it was actually a good thing because it really helped me to become aware not only of myself, but the people around me. So I'll give an example, right? Because the money topic came up.
Mm,
But my dad was very cheap, right?
mm,
He did not like to give out money for no reason whatsoever. He was a major penny pincher, right? And now when your parent is, kind of is that way, it goes into the kids and it creates a scarcity mindset at times. Sitting here today, I look back on that, and my dad went through the war,
mm,
right? He went through the period where there was no food. And I remember him telling stories of how they would have to line up to get one potato in boiled water, and that was considered soup.
mm,
And I think about that time of, our older generation who have gone through the war and have gone through things and seen things that we have not seen. We're spoiled, I feel, right? In a lot of ways. He also had 7 kids, and he was the main provider. And so it actually made me appreciate where he was in his life and the reason why he was that way, right? And so when I take that and move it into my coaching, I really want to understand where the person's at and where it comes from, right? And bring in the gratitude and the appreciation instead of looking at it as this problem or, everything comes from my parents and my parents mess me up and I'm not saying that it's every situation, but gratitude and appreciation can always be found.
mm. Wow.
It can be hard
Mm,
though to find,
mm.
but it can be found.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I personally believe that by us sharing our stories, we can help
Hmm.
others because
Hmm.
it can hold up a mirror to things about someone that they can see themselves in us and in our stories. So I really appreciate you sharing. And as you were sharing, I was thinking about like the scarcity mindset that you said what was just inevitably created, and thinking about all the other areas in someone's life that can pop up in, because some people don't realize it's not just finances. It can come up with like emotional hoarding or just so many ways that it can reveal itself. And through mindfulness of these things and self-awareness, patterns can be broken. And I love that you brought up gratitude towards the end, because when you're able to recognize that the things that happened in your life, while in the moment they may feel like, why is this happening, like this is senseless, I don't understand, but at a certain point it may take longer than you would like, but there you will find meaning, and meaning attached to those experiences will give perspective. And all of a sudden, now you're moving from a sense of power if you're sitting in gratitude for those moments. So I
Yes.
sharing that, because I agree 100%.
Yeah. And I think with coaching, right, as you're saying this, right, and the gratitude and appreciation, and I think it still comes down to allowing someone to feel seen and heard. And
Mm,
then when you're talking about storytelling or people telling their stories, everyone has a story and it deserves to be out in the world. You know, I speak a lot about live human interactions, right? Connecting with people,
mm-hmm.
just talking to people, getting to know them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of making someone feel seen and heard and allowing yourself to be seen and heard, practicing gratitude living in abundance of the mindset, because then everything around you now feels in abundance. How do you do this? How do you have these healthy practices in your life to foster a positive mindset, or a mindset that is living in gratitude and in growth and openness?
I talk my boyfriend's ear off. No word of lie. I will talk to him and I just and lucky for me, he is an amazing listener and he's an introvert because I think if he wasn't, I would probably drive him absolutely crazy. But no, I think with mindset, it's really important to actually be present with yourself and be able to take the time to sit in silence.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think people do have a hard time
Hmm.
sitting in silence, you know, and but once you're able to do that, you become so much more self-aware with yourself that you're able to give more to others.
I agree 100%. And that really, I love that you said that, just sitting with yourself and sitting in the silence, not feeling the need to fill every moment. You don't always have to be listening to a podcast or music or speaking to someone. Just be okay with that silence. Um, in the chat, the truth is always in the silence. I agree that that's beautiful, and you can
Yeah.
obtain a lot in those moments of silence and hear from yourself and get to know yourself in that way.
Yeah. When I think about sitting in the silence is when you can feel the energy within you and you can feel it in your chest.
Mm,
There's a certain feeling that you get. It's, like I have it right now where my heart feels really warm, right? You feel in alignment with your chakra.
mm, absolutely. Love that you feel warm talking to me. I just had to say that. I couldn't keep
Oh
that.
no.
But I was like, oh, I feel so too. But yes, and in terms of energy that you were mentioning earlier, something that I don't think a lot of us realize is your energy can actually be raised or lowered by other people,
Mm.
and depending around. So sometimes I can be like, oh no, like at that time I'm tired, but and I don't really want to do anything. But if I'm around a certain person or engaging in a certain type of conversation, I'm awake, I'm energized, even if before I was just about to fall asleep. So it's really important to pay attention to that and really audit, as you're around people, and be in tune with yourself. And
In tune.
yeah, absolutely. Being attuned to those moments, it brings so much self awareness, and the more self awareness you have, that deep relationship with yourself you have, and you're better able to navigate. I do truly believe that.
I agree with that too. I strongly believe that. And I love in tune. I actually haven't used that for a while.
I love that that phrase. I feel like it helps. I'm like, that's the only way I know how to say it. Like how I feel like it's the perfect way, really, just like describe it. But
Mhm.
and read a comment we have in the chat. Well said. When you do the work for someone, it keeps them from figuring it out for themselves. Hmm.
We love Zach too.
Yes. Hi, Zach. Thanks for joining us. And
Zach also, Zach has great conversations actually, and he's really great in relationships.
ooh, relationships is an area of my life that I'm prioritizing. All relationships. So Zach, I'll be talking to you soon. But
Mhm.
but I do love what he said, and just allowing that person to I don't want to say figure it out for themselves, but gain that level of insight, it is very meaningful when it comes from within.
Yeah, and I think, when you think about silence too, even in friendships or relationships, sometimes sitting together in the silence, it's not a bad thing.
Mm,
Even with friends, if they're going through something, you don't always have to say something. Sometimes just sitting with them in silence and just being present, right, is
mm,
enough.
absolutely. It's true because you're just receiving from the energy, and sometimes there's really nothing that needs to be said. Just
Mhm.
it is enough. But we are coming to the end of our life, unfortunately. But
That was quick.
that did go quick. That went way too quick. That's like how fast that hour went. I actually like. I don't like how fast that went. But I'm I'm so grateful for you coming on this live with me today, and I always appreciate your time and energy. I receive so much whenever I talk to you,
Same.
and for everyone who doesn't know, Lisa has she has shared with me. She's listened to me. We've had conversations. She's encouraged me when I needed it, and at certain times where I did feel low and I was in the mindset of like I don't really know like what else I can do, or I was just feeling very discouraged, she opened up to me and was just really there when I needed her. So I just wanted everyone to know that, and just the I won't do it. I won't do it. Okay, got it. I just wanted everyone to know the place that she holds in my life and the type of person she is. And thank you for all of her clients that get to work with her. Like you really have like not just a great coach, but a very special person.
Thank you so much. You almost got me,
I almost got myself. That's why I had to pause.
but I will give that gift back to you because you bring the calm and the zen and a beautiful aura and a beautiful energy. And whether you notice it or not, you really, really do. And it follows you without
Thank
you
you.
even knowing.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Let's not doing it. I'm not doing it. Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate it. And on our last few minutes, um, is there any final thoughts that you have to share with anyone? Um, any other tips you want to share on mindfulness or mindset? Just anything else you want to share with us today?
If there's anything that I would leave this conversation is a message that you are right where you need to be. You are whole and complete. There is nothing wrong with you, and you don't need to be fixed.
I love
In
it.
saying, there's always a push forward, and there's always somewhere that you can go.
I love that. That's a perfect note to end on. So they have it. This is why Lisa's great. This is the third time I said it because I can say it a million times. But thank you so much, Lisa, for joining. And I can't wait for us to do another live together. And
Yeah.
you're just awesome. I just can't wait to chat with you and talk to you in general.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate you too.
Bye,
And
Lisa.
thank you for everyone who joined.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to mention the chat. Thank you so much. Sorry, I don't want to leave without saying that. Thank you so much to everyone that joined, that came in, maybe had to leave or come back. Everyone that offered your insight, said hi. Actually, let's go through and recognize everybody because that was so nice. Um,
Michael,
Shane,
thank you, Michael.
let me see, Pendulum. Oh, my friend Jaden. Jaden is a third degree black belt and he taught me some moves. So thanks, Jaden, for joining. He's
That's my son's name.
aw, love it. Let me see,
Jaden,
Diane.
Priya, and Caleb.
Oh, those names are so beautiful. I love that, Lisa. So creative.
Thank you.
Adam J. Ben. Love you, Ben. Oh, my cousin Caddy joined. Let's
President Ben, we're trying to manifest. President Ben.
Oh, that's what you were saying. I think I missed that before.
Yeah. President Ben.
President Ben, guys. I'm so for that. Thanks, Michael, for joining.
You know what? As I'm saying it, we have 2 minutes left here. So I've actually never said it though in another live about President Ben. I've said it to him, but I've never said it out like this. So now I'm throwing it out live. So President Ben. Yeah,
Ben is a
President Ben. I'm gonna force we're coaches and